Hi. Here's just a little test for this video lesson thing. We're going to try out with you at least. I hope this works. And I hope this kind of makes it a little clearer what I was messaging you last night. Apologize, it's kind of a windy day, so I'm not sure if this is going to sound all that great. But we'll see what happens. Kind of what I'm suspecting when you actually hit your driver is that you have a little bit of a tendency to get excessively steep on the downswing so that you're coming down sharply into the ball. When that happens, you'll have a bit of a tendency to kind of slash across it, which gives it that really hard slice type spin. For me, it is left to right. For you, it is going to be right to left, since you're a left-handed player. So I'm hoping that these three things will sort of help correct that. And when I get out there in September, we'll try and carve out a little bit of driving range time and try and fix it in person. I hope it works. One of the things that you need to do to hit a driver properly is have the correct path of the club head as it comes through. And what we want to do is have it approaching as you're coming down and through the shot. You actually want that club to bottom out without touching the ground and catch that ball slightly on the upswing. Okay? To do that without hitting the ground, what we need to do is make a few adjustments to where you set up and to the actual path of your backswing. So what we want to do is set that ball pretty far forward in your stance, and it's going to be kind of hard to see from this angle here, but I have it just kind of inside my left toe. I have the big toe on my left foot. As we set up, I want the hands to where that butt end of the club is kind of pointing towards your midsection, your belly button, or your zipper. This isn't a shot where you want to really press the hands forward too much because that helps to encourage a downward shot on the ball, which we don't want. We want to sweep it off of the tee. So we have the hands set back just a little bit. And the first thing I want to think about is shallowing your swing plane. Now for an iron shot, when you get to this position here, what we're looking for is that shaft of the club pointing straight at the ball. That's kind of the optimum position for getting that club head down to the ground. Again, we don't want to hit the ground with the driver, okay? That thing's brand new. We want to keep it as shiny and clean as possible. So what we need to do is take this angle here and flatten it out a little bit. Now, you can't really do that in the middle of the swing, taking it back like you normally do. The way we do that is to shallow out the backswing, okay? And I mentioned last night, brushing the tips of the grass coming back. We want to keep that club head as low as we can, as long as we can, until this sort of angle of the spine forces it around, up and around your body, okay? So you'll notice when I get to this position here, now that shaft of the club is out over the top of the ball, okay? That'll help flatten things out just a little bit, okay? Now, one of the other reasons that you're going to tend to get a little bit steep coming down is that also on your backswing, you do have a little bit of a tendency to allow your trailing elbow to get out away from your side. For me, it's my right elbow. On you, it's going to be your left elbow. So what we want to do, we don't want to glue your elbow to your side. That's not a very good free swinging position. But you want to kind of feel like you got the upper part of your sleeve. You're kind of holding it up against you with the upper part of your arm. So your trail elbow, your left elbow, is going to feel like it's a little bit closer to your side as you make that turn. So when you get to the top of that backswing, that forearm should be at about a 90-degree angle and pointed straight to the ground, okay? What we don't want to have is a ton of like separation. When that happens, that club only has one direction it can go to get back down to the ball, and that is down steep and across it, which gives it that really hard slice spin, okay? So just kind of in review, on that takeaway, keep that club as low as you can, brushing the tips of the grass until that angle of the spine forces you to pick it up, while keeping that upper right part of your, or the upper part of your left arm a little bit closer to your body. Hopefully that flattens things out so that by the time you shift through the shot, that club will bottom out a few inches before it gets to the ball and catch it slightly on the up. I'm notoriously bad at demo shots, so forgive me if I skin one here, but I think I'll hit this pretty good. Right down Broadway. Sometimes the sun shines on a dog's ass once in a while. I'm going to put one more clip together on a face-on view to talk about shoulder turn. So just hang on. Hi again. All right, now that we're going to talk a little bit about that third principle and kind of give you another view of things for the other two really quick, because it might be a little easier to see from this angle some of the stuff. The down the line view is really good for playing, but not much else. Okay, so just a quick review on setup. Again, we want that ball pretty far forward in your stance. I promise you're not going to, top it if you do this right. I play it off the inside of my left big toe. Talked a little bit again about the hands being a little more centered. Again, you don't want to have a big forward press here because that encourages that downward shot on the ball. We want to actually hit up on it slightly. And you'll know you're doing it right if that tee either stays where it's at or you just pop it out of the ground. If you have a tendency to break a lot of golf tees, that's usually a pretty good indication that you are getting really steep down into it. That downward pressure snaps the top of that tee off. So, but I really want to talk about getting that nice full shoulder turn, because hitting a good driver shot is all about making sure that that club travels on as long a path as possible while still being in control. It's going to allow you to hit it a long way without having to swing super hard at it. So what we want, let's kind of get back into what we were talking about earlier. On the takeaway, keep that club nice and low. What we'd want to avoid is picking it up super quickly. Keep it nice and low. And that third thing I talked about last night, we want to get that left shoulder turned to where it is at the very least, level with the ball, okay? What'll happen sometimes is if you short that shoulder turn, then that club head will, again, tend to get a little bit steep. A nice full turn will allow you to uncork and get that nice upswing type feeling on the ball, so you won't pop it up, okay? So once you get set in, you keep that club head nice and low on the takeaway. That trail elbow, your left elbow, be a little closer to your side without being glued to it. And you want to just think about shoulder turn. Now, a lot of times people, especially when they're just starting out, they have that tendency to, oh my God, I have to keep my head down. So they end up kind of gluing their chin into their chest. What happens then is that turning shoulder crashes into the side of their face and their whole body will tend to lurch to the right. You don't want that. So keep your chin up just a little bit. It's a pretty chin, I ain't gonna lie. You want to keep your chin up just a little bit, look down your nose at the ball, and turn that left shoulder, your right shoulder underneath it, okay? let's try this as another demo. Again, I'm usually pretty bad at these. I didn't hit that particularly well, but I did hit up on it, popped the tee up out of the ground, and got a fairly desirable result. It didn't go too far offline. If you can manage these three things, you should be okay. Now here's the trick. When you're practicing them, if you try to do all of them at once right off the bat, probably not gonna do any of them the correct way all at once. So what I want you to do is work on just one of those concepts at a time, starting from the beginning, until you feel like you don't have to think about it anymore, then move on to the next. The golf swing tends to be like a big puzzle. It's got 1,000 pieces to it. You get really good at each of those individual pieces. Eventually they fit together just right. So I hope this helps. Yeah. I'm gonna try and call you when things slow down after work today. You know, if you go out, cool. You know, if I miss you, well, I'll try and hook up with you again sometime this weekend. But I really hope this stuff helps. One of the things that's really gonna do is help prevent what we call sky marks. That's when you get really steep hitting down on it and you leave like an imprint of a golf ball on top of the club. That's, you know, cosmetically kind of crappy to look at, and, you know, hurts the resale value. Not that you're thinking about that with a new club, I'm hoping. But anyway, hope this finds you well, and yeah, let's get you swinging, and I can't wait to see you in a few weeks. Really looking forward to it. So, thank you.